The more we tolerate, the more we risk losing our self-respect. As one wise person stated, what you don't acknowledge controls your life. If you suppress feelings of resentment for an extended period, it doesn't signify kindness. It signifies self-deception. This is not merely a theory, but a reflection of the reality we face every day, where kindness is often taken for granted. Many people continue to exploit this kindness without truly appreciating it. However, it is time to put an end to this cycle. Kindness should flourish in environments where it is genuinely valued. To persist in offering it where it is overlooked diminishes its meaning. In this video, I will discuss how Capricorns handle those who devalue them. First and foremost, individuals of this sign are not particularly emotional. Rather than confronting you or sorting through conflicts, they are likely to begin distancing themselves and adopting a colder demeanor. Capricorns often prefer not to display dramatic reactions, and you may not even realize that their patience is wearing thin until they are ready to withdraw completely. When Capricorns no longer feel appreciated, their initial response is to immerse themselves in their work. If you haven't noticed their absence, they likely haven't noticed yours either. They are not inclined to be your shoulder to cry on or your personal therapist indefinitely. If you only reach out when you need something, don't be surprised if they start becoming unavailable. Distance is the primary tool Capricorns will employ. While some may perceive this behavior as manipulation, it is, in fact, their way of setting boundaries. If you lack time for them, they will respond in kind. Capricorns are willing to let go of those who do not appreciate their presence, channeling their emotions into ambition and transforming insecurity into a drive for excellence. Work becomes their sanctuary, allowing them to express their feelings through achievements. Their natural inclination towards structure and discipline intensifies, motivating them to push beyond their limits to restore their self-worth. Each project and goal stands as a silent testament to their value, reaffirming their importance to themselves and others. Another way Capricorns may respond is by becoming harsh with their words. While it takes considerable effort to provoke a Capricorn, once angered, they will not hold back. They rarely resort to physical violence, but their words can cut deeper than any blow. If you find yourself on the receiving end of their anger, avoid attempting to soothe them by telling them to relax. This will only exacerbate their irritation. Instead, let them express themselves and address the issue once they have calmed down. The phrase "calm down" acts as a trigger. Uttering it can provoke an immediate and negative reaction. If emotional distance fails to bring clarity, Capricorns will often mirror the behavior of the offender. In today's world, a person trying to reclaim their self-worth might be labeled as overly sensitive, dismissed as having imagined grievances, or labeled as whimsical. However, individuals soon recognize the rules of engagement when their own behavior is reflected back at them. The proverb, "What goes around comes around," applies in both directions. If someone doesn't reach out, it indicates they don't value your presence. If they fail to express gratitude, they likely take your support for granted. And if they do not offer support in times of difficulty, it suggests their focus lies solely on their own benefit. The mirror simply reflects reality, and Capricorns are ready to show you your behavior. Another defining trait of Capricorns is their ability to remain cold-blooded, even amid emotional turbulence. They prefer to maintain control, carefully weighing their words and actions. This measured approach helps them avoid regret over things said or done in the heat of the moment. When pushed to the brink, Capricorns often respond with stoic silence. When their patience runs out, it manifests as a quiet storm concealed behind a mask of calm. Their stoicism serves as armor, while neutral facial expressions hide a tumult of emotions beneath the surface. This silence is not indifference. Rather, it acts as a shield, allowing them to manage their feelings and maintain control. For Capricorns, this silence is not merely a defense mechanism. It is a means of preserving dignity and coping with insecurity, all in the hope that others may change their behavior. Attempts to pressure them will only strengthen their resolve. Their restraint creates a barrier that is challenging to breach. Capricorns can endure for quite some time, but eventually, they come to realize that it is often more beneficial to eliminate a toxic relationship outright. This approach is known as the silent exit. They simply distance themselves without unnecessary explanations. Ironically, the more we attempt to convey our sense of injustice, the less we are taken seriously. Words hold little weight. Actions speak volumes, and Capricorns have understood this long ago. The quiet departure of a Capricorn serves as a clear signal to others that they are losing someone significant, all without the need for conflict or lengthy conversations. A Capricorn simply begins to fade away. Where they once might have been the first to send a message asking, "How are you?" they will now wait for the other person to reach out. However, that likely won't happen. This silence isn't a sign of resentment, but rather a test for those who have devalued them. Can the other person manage without Capricorn's attention? And can Capricorn handle the indifference of others? Of course, they can. Now, let's discuss their emotional resilience. Capricorn's steadfast nature becomes especially apparent in conflicts. Their determination may be perceived as inflexibility, as they refuse to back down until they are convinced the situation has improved. They are unafraid of difficulties. Capricorns showcase their strengths under severe stress or in crises. Their emotions do not cloud their judgment, allowing them to effectively tackle complex problems. If you neglect to reach out to them, they will also cease to initiate contact. A month, 2 months, or even a year may pass, and they will ultimately recognize that what they had was not a genuine relationship, but merely an illusion. The harsh reality is that we can be forgotten and never thought of again. Another intriguing question is whether Capricorns seek revenge. Although they rarely do, when they decide to take action, they do so without mercy. Minor slights don't tend to bother them. They reserve their energy for more significant matters. If you offend a Capricorn, be prepared for serious consequences. They are strategic, open, and straightforward in their approach. You won't merely lose. You will find yourself in a significantly compromised position. However, Capricorn's desire for revenge is usually short-lived. Once they achieve their objective, they quickly move on. An interesting aspect to note is that Capricorns often communicate their intentions for revenge in advance. So, if you're perceptive enough, you may have an opportunity to avoid the repercussions. If you disregard this warning, know that you have been forewarned.